We are live. Thank you all so much for joining us in Cthulhu and Cairo review, episodes 51 through 53. Nice. So yeah, we wrap up the Roop Kund segment. A very harrowing segment for a couple of our adventures. We are glad to have Scott and Raz with us, joining us in our chat as we do the review. Scott plays John in the game. Uh, so let's get right into it.
Played.
This was
I was like, do I say that? Is that spoilers?
That played.
Do
uh,
I-
yeah
Past tense?
yeah played exactly
Rolled.
exactly. I'm gonna see what's going on with there you go, and we'll see if we can't get Melinda back here in a minute. But yeah, so here she comes. Excellent. All right, sideways for a second and then back up. All right, nice, nice. We knew we'd
I,
get you going.
the sound went all weird and choppy, so I'm on
Mm,
my phone.
well, that's just Amanda, honestly. But you know, you know.
Hi, Scott. Nice to see you.
You too. You too.
Nice, excellent. Yes, finally, great to put a face to the voice that we have been hearing for 50 some episodes. So really
Well,
good to
it's
see you.
it's it's nice to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about it. This was a rough one. This was very rough, and I loved how um, we were like, let's drop a major mythos entity
Oh,
without naming a major mythos entity for the most
Oh,
part of it.
no,
yeah,
that's not going to work,
yeah.
guys.
It was a Thakwa, wasn't it? Or
I'm
Yeah, it was an
sorry.
aqua. It was
yeah,
one of the, yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not one of the more fun people or things or creatures that you can throw at the players. It's definitely one of the deadliest. And uh, the
It
or
was
yeah,
yeah. It this period of time was the toughest time I had playing in the entire campaign.
yeah.
Um, just personally too. Like I was really torn up decision wise.
Hmm.
Raz remembers the two of us hand wringing, several hand wringing sessions going on there. It was not. It was
Well,
very interesting.
it seemed like it. I mean, there was a lot of action going on. There was a lot of personal stuff going on with the characters, and felt like the players as well. Absolutely, they definitely felt that way.
Oh, it was an
Um,
incredible. It was such a. I just loved that period of the campaign. Just all the characters, the input, what everybody was doing, the action, the pacing of it. Um, Man, it was fun. It was
oh
fun.
yeah.
The village, the crazy people in the village, poisoned, their
Well,
poisoned minds, the
well, that's what was blowing my mind. Is here you are staring dead on. I don't think it's a great old one. I can't. I have to look it back up to make sure. But I mean, it's a major entity, and
yeah.
you're like,
Well,
I know.
it was, John, I really envisioned John being on this journey of just embracing the supernatural and really just wanting to immerse himself in that growing knowledge. And if you go back to the Abbey of Thelema and everything that he was able to do in that with the circle of protection, and he
Hmm.
was kind of like getting a little swagger,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
um and Yeah, I guess you could say he overstepped his reach, maybe, what
You,
that was. But
they often say that the most dangerous character in the Call of Cthulhu game, the most dangerous player character is the professor, the history professor.
yeah.
So, usually the 90-year-old history professor,
Well,
but yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Now I don't, boy, I haven't listened to Roop Kund in a long time, but I think I rolled a pretty good roll, didn't I? Wasn't
Yeah.
that just to be able to reach him,
Hmm.
on that level, was from that really good roll. And I thought I like communicated such a great message, like, I was able to send him. I was able to send like an image to him, right? So I just like sent the swastika and was like, "Kill this," and didn't really think of the far-reaching implications that there's other people in the world wearing that as well. Yeah.
I as much as I would love to see it terrassing through Germany, just
You know what? Immediately when it became clear that that's what happened, and the way Raz was communicating that, he had to get to Germany, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's like, what happened? That was the beginning of my like, oh my God, what have I done? Because what happened to the landscape between Nepal and Europe? There's a lot of land, and he wasn't like phasing or he wasn't dimension dooring to Europe. He was just traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. He's otherwise. I mean, one of his other names is the Wendigo, right? Is he known as the Wendigo, the Windwalker, Walker of the Wastes? I mean, it's he's a traveler.
He's a traveler.
Yeah. But I dug it because it's like, you were like, like kind of like exactly what Raz was saying. You're this little ant down here going sick 'em, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And it just goes. Why not?
It's the beauty of this whole tie-in that, and it worked. And I listen, you throw things out there, and sometimes they just come together. Was that John faced in front of it, and the whole message after this whole scene was recorded. We met for breakfast, and we were talking. I forget which one it was, but I think we normally meet for breakfast once a month or 2 months. And we were talking, and it was like, didn't Mueller say don't do that one thing? And it was like, oh, come on, it's like, and it all ties back to that warning that he gave them that you may look to do good, but if you don't understand, things can go terribly wrong. And it was just a matter of the timing of it worked out so nice.
You remember, I was riding high. I was like, ooh, this worked. Man, my Cthulhu Mythos rating just went up by like 5. I'm rocking this thing. I was riding high, and then we went back into Kathmandu, and then we got out to that village and had no idea what you had planned. And that was the first leg of it, because he went to the Nazis that were at the airfield, going through the village on the way, and the way you unrolled it all, it was just like this slow rollout of information, and then I started like wait connecting these dots and dawning on me, and then it was just, we're like mid game when I realized, like, holy crap. It was intense, dude. It was intense.
What is it they say in the movies all the time? You meddling with powers you cannot possibly comprehend.
Totally. Yeah. You captured that sentiment 100%.
100%.
And you delivered it. You delivered the way you revealed and delivered it to us was amazing.
Well, I mean, that's what's so well done with Raz and the stories. It's like it's not what you expect it to be. In this, and it's what keeps you riveted to the scenario. To me, or every episode, it's like, okay, if Aqua's coming, they're toast. They're all toast. They're all just toast. And you kind of walk through that one unfazed, and then it's like, oh no, the bandy-leg little villagers come up and just coax all of you.
Start working, Sid.
Exactly.
Oh, those horrible failed rolls on that descending of the rope.
Well, it was kind of
the worst.
It was kind of a rush job, so
yeah.
So
gotta go.
Exactly, gotta go right now. And that's one thing, as I was listening to it, man, I was getting frustrated. I mean, I was pissed. I mean, I was like, I would have fought it out. I totally would have fought it out. And it's just me as like, okay, I'd rather we'd all die standing and delivering than being swatted around on the side of a cliff by the wind.
Buffeted. It's called buffeted, not swatted. Come on.
I'm sorry, I'm not as alliterative, but
buffeted.
But it's but yeah, that's the way I felt, because I'm listening to what you guys your plans are. I'm like, they're going to come up and cut if they're that close, they're going to cut the rope. They're totally going to cut the rope. And then I'm like, there's only like one really good climber in there. Like one person had like a 55, and then it went from like to like 40 into 30s. I'm like,
Yeah.
these guys are no. No. It's like, I'm sure their combat skills are much better than their climbing skills.
I think I remembered thinking at the time, because Sid stayed at the top.
Right.
I think as in the back of his mind, he was going to, if he had to get to that point, try to heroically hold them off.
And he could scramble quick this down. He thought he'd be the quickest to descend.
Yeah.
But I think as I recall, thinking like they were so nuts. I didn't think that they would like have the cognitive ability to cut the rope. Like they'd see us over the cliffside and they'd just literally like lemmings start falling off the cliff, which could have had its own danger, falling bodies, knocking us off the rope. But
Thanks, decidedly less danger.
Like lemmings. I'll do like that. Well, that's kind of what I expected to happen would be with like Sid. It's like there wouldn't be any fight. They'd just be, and they all go. That's almost what I was thinking that was going to happen. I was like, they're just 20 of them just dive bomb off the cliff with him, and we're just done.
Yep.
Kind of what I was expecting, but the fight just made it much more dramatic there at that.
Yeah,
and I mean, the ladies were pissed, man. Like getting down the end, you could hear it. I was there like, I don't. Fuck this game. I don't even want to play this game anymore. Fuck you.
I was
Fuck
worried. I gotta tell you, I started to think we whacked Aveline. She decided to stay. That was her call. I get it. The situation was tense. Sid, we kind of stopped recording, and he said to me, he texted me and goes, "Dude, I'm okay if he goes here." I said, "What?" He goes, "No, I'm okay."
Feel it happening. Yeah,
and I'm like, I love when players make that call. Like John, which comes up in the episode. There comes a point when a player says, "I'm either broken mentally, physically. I can't do this."
I was mad at first, but then I was like, "That's legit."
I was like, "If you're ready to go, then go out a hero. Hold on to the rope."
Yeah.
But I had no idea they were going to roll like that. I mean, they were just flumping every roll.
The girls were like, "Fuck the dice, fuck this game, especially fuck you, Raz."
There's something I want to say because it just comes to mind. Raz takes a lot of razzing, shall we say?
Yeah.
About like his punishment of characters and these horrible things that he puts us through. But I gotta say, like, this was such a horribly dark, low moment for me as a player. Let me say horribly good, dark, low moment, right? Because that's why we're playing a horror game. But it nothing Raz ever does seems like that vindictive GM, like, oh really? Yeah, fuck you. Try this one. It's like it makes sense. It all comes together, and I love it. And you're right. It punishes the hell out of us. But it has a real logical reasoning behind it.
Yeah. And all great GMs can do this. I mean, it's one thing to just TPK to party and go fuck them. But Raz always has an out for you guys. It's still gonna suck, but there's an out.
Yep.
You're not coming through it unscathed, but there is an out. That he always has that, even unintentionally baked in. It's just okay, you can do this. You can hold up in a building, you can just stand and deliver, or you can run. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
Amanda, like you could pour a baby's soul out of his body into a cup. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody should know what that means yet, but I mean, Amanda can attest that you have ways. Like, if you need to.
Is that spoilers?
10 out of 10. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Nice.
I do think like that is something I wanted to add on to, was that the options that you have as a player in a game that Raz is running is what you would have if you were legitimately in that situation. I feel like it is a very realistic repercussion of your own actions. These are the consequences of what you did. So here are your choices of how you would like to pay that. These are your options. And I think that makes the story engaging to listen to. And as a player, you still feel like you have control, even though he's,
Well,
puppeteering behind the scenes.
Yeah.
it just allows you to immerse yourself in that RP, which is the best part about playing in any Raz campaign. Is just the RP is so heavy,
Yeah.
and he respects like if you have a reason and you legitimately argue your reason of why you're doing something and making me, then he respects that, how that makes sense too. So yeah, we're all having it's fantastic. We're all loving that.
Oh yeah. I mean, the worst thing you could say is, "Oh, that's what my character would do." Oh, fuck that. You got to have a legit reason, and and Razzle let that fly. And yeah, like it says, you RP it out, and what happens, just like you said, man. It's amazing. I mean, it reminds me of another good GM I was playing with last night. It's about my last game of 2022. Was just playing a 5e game just for laughs,
Nice.
And one of the characters was like, "I'm gonna cast Fireball." I'm like, "We're in a small room," and the GM's like, "Nope. He done said we're doing it. We're doing it." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, that's a great way to bring in the new year.
Exactly. It was a
I
lot of
love
fun.
it. Nice little 5e one shot.
Exactly. It was a 5e one shot, and I haven't played 5e in 3-4 years, so it was nice to kick the rust off the blade, like Conan does, and and have that fun. So yeah, a little off topic from the scenarios that we've been listening to. I mean, Raz and I, we just got back from PAX Unplugged not too long ago. Had an amazing PAX Unplugged. He got some good praise on his game there, that his Conan game that we ran, the now extinct Conan game.
As of today.
As of today, now a collector's item, but it's like the guy said in the podcast. I mean, there is still a large library of stuff out there, and they have a lot of stock to sell still too. So it's I think it's going to be a game that's still going to stand on its legs for a while, even after this new company picks it up and keeps going on with it. It's a lot of good stuff going on in there. Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, we had an absolute blast doing that, and then in the same token, we're all ramping up and prepping up to go to Origins. We're all very excited. How are you going, Scott? Are you part of the group?
I am indeed.
Nice. So excellent.
It's definitely stretching myself.
Is it? Have you not been to a con like this, or?
No, I've been to
no.
cons,
Yeah.
but not in this capacity. So.
Oh no. Okay.
No, I've never like a live play type situation.
Okay,
Nothing like that. So.
That'll be okay. Just imagine them all naked. It'll be fine. I'm sorry.
There we go. Bright lights, so I can't see any of the audience. There we go.
He was doing that already. I mean, that was not adding anything.
I'm doing that right now, Bruno.
There you go.
Hey. Awkward
Sorry
pause
for you.
Awkward. Nice.
Just wish you would have told me how to clean up a little bit better.
Exactly.
Present my best.
That sickness makes your voice all husky.
It's like a Kathleen Turner effect going on.
I know, right? It's not bad. I'll take it.
It's I always, when I call into work and I'm sick, my mom, because I work with my mom, so she's always like, "Are you sick?" And I'm like, "No, Mom, this is my sexy man voice. What are you talking about?"
Just breaking every other syllable.
Absolutely.
I'm on my fifth pack of Camels at 7 a.m. What do you think? So I wanted to say something about going into episode, I think it was 52 or 3. Might have been the final one. So it was a really big decision as a player to give up a character that was as beloved as John was and is. I mean, people that are even starting to listen to the show, you feel bad because every once in a while I'll get a note, "Oh, I really like John Schooley." And I'm like, "Where are you at? 35? Yeah, you can like him a while longer." You don't want to say that, but he was one of the anchor members of the group, right? Like keeping the girls, it's sort of their journey, but these male characters around them have been protector elements and strength when things go wrong, and this logical course of action of, okay, we need to do this, let's and the girls are kind of they're young women and they're doing their thing. And John's as a character was really, really important in the narrative, and I had foreseen this going much deeper in, especially with the problems that they were going to come across in Australia in future episodes. I sort of had my notes, and I'm like, okay, so John important because of this, and what am I going to tie into John here? And I had all these tie into Johns, and then I went, well, what the hell? And I literally wasn't sure coming off that episode how the group was going to bounce back.
Yeah,
I felt horrible. That was the worst part of it all, because the hardest part to me, as I recall, thinking back, Sid, when we were at Roop Kund, Sid had that breakdown, which we all know what it's
the
related
tunnel.
to now,
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
yeah,
And so, like, he had that freezing moment, and he kind of was like recovering from that as we went through Kathmandu and everything else, and then his heroic death. Not sure what we say here as far as spoils or whatever any of that concerned,
exactly.
but and it was such a strong moment. And then as we finished, and I was thinking, and I started talking to Bruno, and I felt bad because I was like, this focus is on Sid and everything that's just happened with Sid, and I didn't want to diminish that at all. I felt horrible. And here I am, but I just, I had told Bruno all along that I had so invested into the RP of the character that I had to play like I think I had to do what I think would happen to him. And just when he saw that village and fully blamed himself for the loss of all the people in that village and what they were suffering, and then the untold sufferings that he had unleashed across the rest of the world, in his mind, who can recover from that?
Yeah,
That's just a fracturing moment.
Actually,
for me,
personally, I enjoyed that we lost both in one episode. I think that made it like it was, a gut-wrenching, stabbing moment to lose Sid and then to lose John, right? Just bam, right? Like that was like, I mean, heart-wrenching. It added that twist of the knife, that agony was just leveled up, to lose both two such vivid and bright, and most of the laughter to me comes from Sid and John. The John's this suave guy, and he's got, he can always talk his way out of stuff, and Sid is fucking Sid. So like those two bright notes of the story were just bam gone like that, and I think that added such a depth. I think it was beautifully done, and I think if it hadn't happened that quickly, you wouldn't have felt it as deeply.
100%. I think it speaks to the natural, or what I want to call the natural evolution of the characters in the campaign, because when we start out, like the girls don't sound like they're like really accomplished like Call of Cthulhu players. Look like they sound kind of newish. Their professions are more practical. We have a nurse / doctor, an archaeologist, but more of a practical archaeologist, and then we have some kooky vigilante out there, but masquerading as a school teacher. But Sid and John's characters were more rooted in the supernatural, I think. They felt like more, they were more geared towards what we consider a Call of Cthulhu campaign, where we're bringing in these other three ladies that don't really have a whole lot of knowledge of this stuff, and they're going to get thrown right into it. So then, one of them passes and then comes back as a more practiced person, more rooted into supernatural,
right,
with Ella as a mentalist. So you can see her picking up the baton as a more supernatural worldly type character, and then the other John and Sid, boom, they're gone, and now we really have to rely on the three women and the experiences that they've gained in this scenario, in these scenarios, and to keep the campaign going, keep it going forward. Yeah.
I kind of forgot about the when Ella came in, John and Ella, an unpublished campaign, but John and Ella were characters that myself and Kayla had played on the during the voyage of the Gertrude Dobbs, and had this really shared, rooted experience that put them both on this supernatural path.
Right.
And I loved the idea that all of a sudden Ella was there. It was just like, the gang's back together. I was
Nice.
so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool.
I just could not adore the character of Ella anymore. Like, I love her. I love that kooky, like there's a scene between her and John where she's talking about Faye and Catherine are bickering, and she's like, "Are they always like this?" And he's like, yeah, actually." And it's so like, fuck, I already miss John, and I haven't listened to. I'm like officially caught up. Every episode at this point is new to me, and I already miss him. I'm already like,
Yeah.
Oh, it was hard for me. When we made the decision to not have the boys join right away. So
Mhm.
Ella walks in and it's like presto, the team's 5 again.
Mhm.
But when the guys and I spoke, it was, you know what? We can't replace these two voices that fast.
But they're just gonna hop on the plane, you know?
Where do we find them? Like, who are they? How do they merge back into the story? And we lose Sid for Scott was weeks, right?
It was
a long time.
Yeah, it was in game playing. It was
like a month.
It was
and
such
a half.
it was such a period of time that when he came back, it was so perfect because it was like uncomfortable almost.
Yeah,
and we had to like meet this new character and this new like uncertain interactions and how we were all working together. It was really I just really enjoyed that.
And we get Scott playing a little bit sooner than that, a couple weeks earlier. Actually, probably almost a month earlier. But still, the girls had several shows where it becomes this total different dynamic. And I've had people tell me it's like, oh, well, miss the guys. They're fun to listen to. But there's some big things that happen to them in those couple of episodes.
Mhm.
And closures of some certain traumatic things from the past. And I really take the hat off to the players. These guys, they love playing together. They love being, they're a team. And to not be able to record to make the story better, like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're being punished. You can't play today. Like,
Put in the corner. Put in the corner.
Yeah, and it's like, but I fell on the mountain. Can I come back yet? No, not yet. You got to wait a little longer. It sucks for players. It's not fun.
Well, I mean, being magnanimous and stepping aside and allowing the campaign to flow
is amazing.
A while. Yeah, exactly. That's a great beat to hit.
Yeah, and I take my hat off to all of them because week in and week out, very rarely do you hear a drop off in play from any of them. They're so, the professionalism is just insane, and they come every time with their character sheets ready, but not there here. Like their character here and they're in their heart and they're ready.
Yeah.
And so having those two drop off so fast, I literally didn't know. I'm like, am I gonna be able to hold all these guys together? And what do we do? Like, how do I bring this? How do I get the group back up comfortable again? It was interesting.
I have never played in a campaign where I am more. I mean, we're 2.5 years into playing this campaign, and I have never been more just like naturally attuned to what character I'm playing. It's just like we sit down and we start playing, and it just washes over you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are good. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. 100%. Well, I mean, you guys are definitely dedicated players. I'm like, even with the one little one that I'm doing with Joel and them.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
He was having a hard day, and I'm like, come on, man, just jump in, sit around. If you don't feel like doing 100%, you just kind of just sit in the background, soak up the atmosphere. And he did. He got in there and started playing. He's like, it's exactly what I needed to get my head out of this.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, 100%. Absolutely.
His third person voice is great.
He plays that the detective, like he does that noir third person.
Yeah.
So perfect.
No natural filter, he just says it all.
Exactly.
Should we Raz, should we share a little behind the scenes discussions that were going on right as we had lost John and talking about what we were doing? And
I'd love to hear some of that.
What could have been that didn't happen?
Yeah, go ahead. You can start.
I had a fully written up realized character of Father Matthias, the John's Vatican contact.
The one who has the 2 items right now, yeah.
Yeah.
And was really leaning in to just like, well, okay, and
Well, I think
few
you mentioned
stage left. Here comes Father
sending him
Mateus.
to them. Yeah, it's like you
Yeah.
got Father Mateus looking after you. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then when Bruno was like, they're going to be going to Russia, and I was like, ooh, playing a Russian. Like that in a 1931 Russian, what a fascinating like historical point in the world, and like what kind of person he could be. Yeah. And then Vadim just grew so naturally out of it.
Oh, Vadim, Vadim has such a natural voice. He really does.
Nice.
It's very good. It's a lot of fun with Vadim. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Excellent. Amanda, you got anything else you want to add as we wrap this thing up? You're muted.
That's okay.
Sorry, I normally don't mute it, but I
You're
didn't want to
coughing.
cough.
You're coughing.
But you sound gross and everything, so I get it.
I know, I'm
Understand.
sorry. This
Stop
is
saying that. I'm thinking about lowering the lights and just listening.
So this is actually from episode 50, but I missed the last review, and it's so far been my favorite laugh out loud quote of the whole show.
Oh,
was Faye when she's like, "It's just me at the wheel, baby, just crazy me." It made me laugh out loud so hard, and I meant to say it in the last review show, but I missed it, so I wanted to make sure I added it because I laughed so hard when she said that, and in her voice, the delivery of it, she's like, "Just crazy me," like it was great. I loved it.
She's really great. She is amazing. Absolutely great quote.
I don't know if I had to pick one, there's Wheat for the longest time. It's just the vomit was huge. From the scene in the mortuary back in Germany, I think.
Vomit was huge.
It's just the vomit. Oh no, it was England. I'm sorry, it was in England.
It was the very beginning.
It's just the vomit. That was one that was huge for me for a long, long time. There's been others, I'm sure, along the way, but for some reason, quotables. Catherine with her 4 Fs or 5 Fs.
That's been a nice recurring
thing.
Yeah.
Lauren just has these stop moments where she'll just be like, bah! And just throw out this sentence, and you go, okay. That's one we got to print on something somewhere. I don't know, but yeah.
That's what I love is like you can count on it like at the introduction of every episode. It's like, Schoolie, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing this. And John, what are you doing? I'm doing this. And Faye, what are you doing? I'm doing this. And Lauren, how about you? I am pissed off. That's what I am. Fuck this, fuck you, and fuck the dice, and fuck all this, and fuck that, especially fuck this.
She's very colorful.
She's a delight. She's a true delight.
During World Cup, they had 3 announcers on a lot of the English channels. They had the guy who was doing the color commentary. They had the guy who was from a British analyst who was actually doing the and here we go, pass up front and doing and then you had the guy on the field, a Spanish broadcaster that they would only go to for big plays, and he just starts screaming goal and be running around, and they're like, So we got a little bit of that in everybody on the show.
Pissed off is what I am. The fuck is wrong with these people? I will choke you. I'm gonna.
That's another great.
You.
I will choke you.
I will choke you. I'm gonna put you in a headlock. Headlock and choke you.
Yeah.
That needs to be on a T-shirt somewhere. I will choke you.
Sure, it's on some dark site somewhere already, but like
exactly. Well, with that, we are out of time. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Thank you, Scott and Raz, Amanda.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
This was a lot of fun, and these are episodes that if just go back and re-listen to some of it, it is really good. The players were outstanding.
100%. Yes. 3 of some of the best episodes we've heard so far. Excellent. If you have not heard yet, you should be listening to the Cthulhu and Cairo podcast on your favorite streaming device of choice. Give it a listen. We know you'll love it. From that, Matt, it's Amanda, and with technical difficulties, Melinda, we're saying thank you all for listening. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Happy New Year, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Happy New Year.